We had been deciding whether this was production issues, whether this was the lack of a new model, but for JP Morgan, this is brand damage.
Yeah, and I do think it's both, right? But of course, JP Morgan, as one of the more bearish analysts or bearish brokers on the street, they have very much sort of leaned into this idea that this is more than just the Model Y changeover, which, you know, we should note is a significant issue in the first quarter, and it remains to be seen just how much, you know, Tesla can sort of overcome any brand damage that you know, is an issue here. But it is, you know, hard to sort of think of an equivalent moment for a car brand where you see people, you know, throwing paint onto showrooms and lighting cars on fire. This is just, you know, very unusual for any product, but particularly for cars where, you know, this is the second most valuable thing that people buy right after their home. So, you know, to you know, buy a Tesla now means something a lot different than it did, you know, only months ago. And, you know, there are real questions about just how much sort of lasting impact Musk's, you know, entry into politics is going to have on this brand.
You cite, of course, JP Morgan being one of the more bearish on the street, and they've got a price target of just 120. But you go to the more optimistic, the bullish on the street, Dan Ives of Wedbush, $550 price target on Tesla. Even he is saying the recent report, the deliveries one, a disaster on every metric. Is there any view that Elon Musk potentially starting to ease out of what the White House and his day-to-day roles, as has been reported? Of course, they push back against that. But whether or not he will come back to the fold, refocus on Tesla, and that being an optimistic light?
I think if we listen to what Musk is saying and what even, you know, J.D. Vance has said, I just, you know, have a hard time sort of seeing, you know, Elon sort of heading to the back seat, if you will. That's not very much his nature, right? He has very much, you know, sort of gotten in deep with this administration. You know, just in the last few days, he was pictured with a, you know, Trump, you know, everything Trump said was right hat. I may be, you know, getting the verbiage a little off, but he is very much, you know, behind the president. And you know, sort of one and the same with this administration. And even if he does, you know, take a step back officially, I think, you know, it's hard to sort of fathom how he could really sort of separate himself after he's thrown himself in so emphatically the last, you know, 6 months.